When was the last time you made a decision without asking anyone else what they thought? Hello, angels, and welcome back to the podcast To the Core. I'm your host, Carissa, and on this podcast, we talk about the tough stuff. The stuff that most people don't really want to talk about because it's either heavy or we've been through a lot and it's hard to kind of work through those emotions, but not to fret. That is exactly what we are here for. On this podcast, my goal is to really help to empower you so you are able to show up as your most aligned and authentic self. Today's episode, and specifically, we're going to be talking about trusting yourself through and through. This has been a long time lesson of mine, as I'm sure it has been most of yours as well. Trusting yourself is one of those things where you think you do, and then you realize that you're consistently asking everybody around you all of the time for reassurance. And I am doing the right thing, right? That is the right thing to order for dinner, right? And just kind of losing that trust and that first instinct that you have as a human being, which is like called your gut instinct or intuition. It's easy to ignore your intuition once you've done it for so long and you're just accustomed to, you get an inkling and then you're like, is it actually there? Maybe I should check in with the person next to me. And the thing about that is, every single time you do those things, you lose just a little bit of trust in yourself. I am someone who will reach out for reassurance often. And as soon as I find myself doing that again, I realize that I've backtracked. I'm also somebody who has done a lot of healing work and really like third eye meditation stuff, intuitive meditation stuff, shadow work in order to trust my gut instinct and listen to that without having to like get verification that that's actually what's happening, like get that reassurance. I think it can be difficult, especially when you have been with people who continuously have told you that you don't know what you're doing, or you're a klutz, or you don't think things through, or you speak before you can actually think. And it's like, okay, same. And we've all been in those positions, but that doesn't need to be your identity. Like, we've all said things before thinking them through. And so, in those moments where you are wondering if you should trust your thought or your intuitive knowing, and then you kind of stop yourself, like it's almost like you're gaslighting yourself into thinking that, well, all these other times someone else told me that like I didn't think it through, or I didn't make the right decision. And maybe like overall you didn't make the right decision, right? But again, trusting yourself, oh, you know what? Even if I make the wrong decision, it's fine. I'm going to figure it out. Like, the way I think about life is things are either a lesson, a blessing, or both. And so if you're constantly depriving yourself from those lessons, then like, how the heck are you going to learn? Like, you need to doubt yourself every once in a while to show yourself that you were right. Like, the smallest things. When I drive, especially around Austin parts, I always have my GPS on. Sometimes even when I know exactly where I'm going and like literally how to get there, I turn on my GPS. A part of me thinks it's like bringing me some safety or whatever in my nervous system. The other aspect is, well, what if there's a better route, or what if the route that I was going to take has an accident, or there's traffic, um, anything like that. And I'm driving and I'm like, okay, I know where I'm going, but I'm looking at my GPS. And what does my GPS do? It tells me to stay left, and I end up on a toll road. I do not take toll roads, so I don't have one of those like easy tag things. So when I get a bill, not only is it just for the toll, which in Texas it can be quite expensive at times, you also get charged what's called like a processing fee. And so now I didn't trust my intuition. I'm going on this toll road. And again, these things are so small, but they build up into something bigger. And so that's why every single chance you get to trust yourself, take it. Like, don't discount those small, what you'd say was just like kind of irrelevant things, but they're bigger in the grand scheme. And the more you trust yourself, the more it's going to become second nature, where the first thing that comes up to you, you're going to be like, yep, that's it. You're not going to overthink it. You're not going to ask someone else for help. You're not going to, oh, well, what do you think? Or, oh, what do I want your take on this. Like, you're genuinely just going to trust yourself, and that's going to be that. And regardless of the outcome, like, you've got yourself. If you're going to make a decision, you need to stand by that. And whether you were right or wrong, I mean, again, this is life. It happens. Like, who cares if you were right or wrong? But trusting your intuition is worth it. And it's worth being wrong, right? Like, and if it's not worth being wrong, then you potentially have an ego that you might need to check, because we're all wrong, right? Like, sometimes we're just wrong, and that just is how it is. The thing about trusting yourself and building that is keeping promises to yourself. Like, I told myself a while back, we were in Vegas and we walked into this like bar in one of the many, many hotels on the strip. And the vibes were just so freaking off. Like, literally, the energy was like heavy and intense. And I didn't feel welcomed. And no one had even talked to us, right? Like, this was just the feeling that I got when I went there. And I'll never forget, I looked at my mom and I was like, the energy's not right. Let's get the fuck out of here. And she was like, I'm down. And like, we just left. Like, we literally didn't even have time to sit down. And the amount of times that I've done that with so many different circumstances, whether it's going into a restaurant or even like walking down the street, if I'm walking, I don't even need to see any sort of person in sight. But if I feel this like inkling in my stomach that something might not be right, I will literally like redirect no matter what I'm doing. And it's really important that you can decipher the difference between intuition and fear, because just because something might feel scary doesn't mean that it's like bad, right? For example, if you get an opportunity to like do a stand-up comedy or something, or like poetry or something like that, and you get this opportunity and you're like, oh, I've never presented my art before, like I just don't know how this is gonna go, and you start to really second guess, doubt yourself, like really think, ooh, like, is this the right choice? That is not intuition, that's fear, right? So being able to tell the difference between those is really important, and also just like valuable to know in your own body. So when those feelings arise again, you're able to tell the difference right off the bat, and you don't have to like go back and forth and wonder which one it is, because that's kind of where it gets dicey. Being intuitive and trusting that intuitive inkling can literally save your life, but holding back due to like this fearful place, that is just literally going to hold you back, and it's going to stop you from your blessings. Lessons, blessings, or both. And I honestly think a lot of times going against your intuition, it's usually a lesson. Going into something that feels fearful is probably going to be a lesson and a blessing. And so to me, I love learning. Like, I say this all the time. If I'm not learning, I'm dead. Like, we're constantly learning. My perspective is changing all the time. And I'll hear something and I'll think, oh, I never thought that I would agree with that, but I do, And that's fine. Like, go with how you feel and go with your gut. That's what's going to bring you to the next chapter of your life, where you are trusting yourself and you're acting from a place of love and alignment rather than, fear. And just being able to, again, take note of your body's responses to things. There have been times where, like, when I got into a relationship with my ex, I definitely confused intuition with fear. Absolutely. Like, my everything in my body was telling me he was bad news, but I was like, you know what? Like, I think I'm just scared because I haven't found a connection like this, and this just feels really real this time. And I kind of didn't want to stop this relationship from potentially blossoming. And I was acting from like a very confused place rather than just trusting my intuition and being like, oh, this doesn't feel right. This person, there's something off. Like, this doesn't feel right. And I mistook that for fear of like either getting hurt or um just being with somebody who was potentially long term. Like, I had never done that before, and that was like kind of, what I thought scary. So just really being able to trust your intuition, and my intuition knew when it was time to go. Like, and I still say to this day, I was genuinely scared that this man, if I stayed any longer, he literally was going to end my life. And I don't say that with a grain of salt. Like, I truly, genuinely mean that I was really thinking towards the end that he, like, if I can't have you, nobody can, that type deal, and it happens, and it's not something to take light of. So again, really trusting your intuition, especially in really important decisions like a partnership and a career, um, buying a house, taking an important role in someone's life, no matter what kind of role that may be. Just trusting your intuitive inklings. And honestly, at like with that, that's your superpower. The more you do it, the easier it'll get, and the less you'll doubt yourself, and the less you'll look around for other people's approval, reassurance. Because again, not everybody is looking out for your highest good. So doubting yourself and asking someone else for their reassurance, and then they tell you something and then you go with that, you could literally be stopping a huge blessing. And that might not even be a malicious thing. They just don't believe in you the way that you believe in yourself. And that's like literally what it comes down to. So yeah, trust yourself. And if you get a weird feeling, no matter, you don't need proof. You don't need proof. The amount of times that I've been like, there's something off about that person. I don't have proof, but I don't need it. And then all of a sudden something happens. Everyone's like, oh my God, this person. Yeah, well, okay. Just sometimes though, you just keep that to yourself. And you protect yourself and you let other people learn their lessons, because you can't learn other people's lessons for them, and vice versa. Nobody can learn your lessons for you. That is on you to do. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for showing up for yourself and me. I do apologize that I missed last week. I literally worked every single day and I could come up with more excuses, but to be honest, I just had no energy. And I really, really, really wanted to show up for you all and myself. I just really couldn't do it. So I really appreciate your patience and waiting an extra week for this episode. I am really grateful for everybody who listens and just supports me in any way that they feel fit. I am not advertising my podcast on social media. I know I say this every episode. I just wanted to give you another quick reminder the way I say it. It just didn't feel aligned. I didn't like it. I didn't feel right about it. So If you benefited from this episode, if you could please give me a follow. I wouldn't be mad at a 5-star rating either, but of course, no pressure. Whatever feels aligned with you. Honestly, there's never any pressure on that. Sending it to a friend, a loved one, anybody that you think could benefit. I always appreciate you. And yeah, I love you and I'm proud of you. And until next time, bye.